All right. So these are just random high yield concepts that isn't necessarily domain specific. A lot of my master classes and high yield sessions for Beastslayers, most of them are domain specific because there's a lot in domain. Because similar to Adriana was saying, I remember when I took the first time, I was gobsmacked because similar to what you were saying, Sony, right? Sony, like the yes, Sony. So similar to what Sony was saying, just like what? Like that's how I was gobsmacked. That was one of the most humbling experiences as a doctor of psychology, and one of the most resilient experiences to really give myself, give me like the driving kind of like the impetus, so to speak, of starting Beast Slayers. And a lot of Beast Slayers content is many frequents know is addressing a lot of those questions, a lot of those concepts within that, not necessarily Piaget or Freud and stuff like that. We know that, right? We know Watson and all that, right? But what about like random gambler's fallacy or like the weight set point theory, like things like that we know, like we with that are within domains that can be tricky because it's not in like high yield study material. And so that is a lot of the what I target here at B Slayers. Of course, yes, I cover stuff that a lot of people know about, but a lot of the angst and the anxiety is reaching, I've said this many times, is reaching question number 93 and then being completely gobsmacked about the question. And then that affects 94, 95, 96, 97. And you might know 95 and 97, but you're so just like shocked at 93 that it just affects the next 10 questions. And so the more you gain confidence and content knowledge throughout across the board, the more you'll be confident in approaching those questions. So with that being said, let's jump into these concepts. Let's spend a little bit of time, just a little bit of time. Y'all let me know what the concepts are. I'm going to tell you the concept, and you tell me what it's all about. So it's the protege effect. Basically, you're teaching me. All right. So basically, I'm going to say, for instance, number one, elaboration likelihood model. What do I need to know about the elaboration likelihood model? It's an all play. Anybody can jump in. There's like a dozen people in this room, so I'm sure somebody going to say something about elaboration likelihood model. Who knows what?
I I think I remember it's about like the central route is like you're getting information directly, like you're getting facts about something, and peripheral is more like you're not getting information directly, but some other characteristic about the information makes that information like appealing to you.
Yep. Yep.
And it's remembered easier in peripheral route than central, right?
Central is usually the one that has the most impact. Peripheral route's usually the one that is more fleeting. Like that's the one that's you're influenced by a celebrity or something like that, and so that has more of a fleeting impact.
Okay.
Yeah, Central is the one who's actually persuaded. Like that's the strongest persuasion. What else we know about ELM? All right. I'm glad you're here then. So when it comes with the elaboration likelihood model, like I said, central route versus peripheral route. Uh, processing via the central route demands cognitive energy, motivation, and clarity, and it yields deeply rooted attitude changes resistant to counter persuasion. All right. The peripheral route, it bypasses deep analysis and it relies heavily on peripheral cues like source attractiveness, credibility, emotional music, or sheer quantity of arguments, resulting in fragile temporary alignment. So like if you're arguing with someone, you're just like, all right, whatever. I mean, that's more peripheral route. Um, so if you're like with ELM, you'll see things on HOP about per, persuasion, but also like media influence, public health messaging, or systemic attitude adjustment. So if you're thinking about like more media influence and public health messaging, um, think of like ELM. All right. What do we know about Fessinger with cognitive dissonance? What study did he do? It's popularized.
Isn't that what the $1 versus was it $5 to
$1 and
say that?
$20 usually was the study, I believe. One and 20.
Okay,
Hmm.
but it was basically like he told both groups to say that they liked something.
Hmm.
Uh, what I remember is that the group that received $1 felt more reason to change their belief because they were like, I'm getting paid shit, so I better change my attitude about this to like basically um what's what I'm looking for? What's my words again?
You're at it though.
Yeah,
Yep.
to basically
So
make this not validate, but to like reason why to
justification is what you're looking
justify.
for.
That's the
Yeah.
word. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
justify getting paid only $1.
Yeah. And when you're thinking of insufficient justification, you're thinking of the term what? Cognitive dissonance. All right. So cognitive dissonance is so the ones who were paid $1, they experienced high cognitive dissonance because they had insufficient justification for lying about the movie. All right. So to reduce the uncomfortable internal tension, they shifted their actual attitudes to match their behavior. So they would say in their mind, I wouldn't lie for $1, so I must have actually liked the movie. That's the point. That's the cognitive dissonance in their head. All right. So the other group had sufficient justification. They didn't feel any dissonance, and they freely admitted the movie was terrible. So they had $100. Some studies 20, some use 100, but they freely admitted the movie was terrible because there was no justification of of making it make sense in your head. That's the point of cognitive dissonance. All right. So holding conflicting cognitions or performing an action that contradicts one's deeply held beliefs creates a state of psychological discomfort, which is which is dissonance. So to resolve that distress, an individual must alter either their behavior or their attitude. All right, so that's cognitive dissonance. All right. Also, think on the HOP, you'll see the term effort justification, and that's involving scenarios where clients justify a difficult or hazing like entry process into a group. That's effort justification. All right, what do we know about overcorrection? Overcorrection. Anybody?
Yeah, so for that one, I remember it's a lot of the times parents with kids who do something wrong, for example, with a sister or a brother. I always think about a brother who ruins a drawing of a sister, and then for come to do something good about it, he's going to, I don't know, write a letter or something, do something good to come to overcorrect the bad behavior.
Good. Yeah, it's good. Anybody want to add anything onto that? That was good. Good job.
I'm actually a behavior analyst, and the way I I love that example. The way another example in case a different example is also helpful. The way I learned it is if a kid like wrote on a wall with like a crayon instead of just like wiping, cleaning that one spot on the wall, they got to clean like the whole wall.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah. I think when I studied, I always think of overcorrection as overcompensation. Like you have to overcompensate, something that uh you have to not only do you have to pay for what you did, you have to overcompensate for what you did. So that's broken into two factors: restitution, which is repairing the damage plus extra environmental cleanup, and positive practice, which is exaggerated repetitive practice of appropriate pro-social behaviors immediately following the infraction. All right. So if you ask yourself from each of a study perspective, did they clean up a mess or did they practice a good habit? If they cleaned up the mess, it's restitution. If they practice a good habit, it's positive practice. All right. All right. What do we know about the three types of attribution biases?
Well, ever since you mentioned what you mentioned one of your groups, I always think you, me, and we.
Yep. You, me, we. Yep.
Yeah. So,
Break that down for the group.
um, so let's see. Self-serving is positive for me. Actor observer is we, and the fundamental is you.
Hmm. Yep. So, so, so if for fundamental attribution, so what I mean by you, me, we, fundamental is you'll see a question that says something about you. So it's about other people. So it's dispositional. All right. So it's them, it's their issue. But for me, it's situational. It's only depending on situational. All right. So that would be actor observer. So if a question if a question talks about what if it's more of like a you, like somebody else did something, if the question says that, when it's like more of a you thing, it's fundamental attribution. If you see it on a question about me and it's focused on me, that's self-serving. If you see something on a question that's about we, it's actor observer. So so self-serving is saying um my success is internal, my failure is external. All right. Actor observer would say my errors are situational, your errors are dispositional, right? So it's external for me. Like I passed the test because I didn't get enough sleep. You, so I didn't pass the test because I didn't get enough sleep. You didn't pass the test because you're not smart enough. That's actor observer. All right. So it's situational for me, dispositional for you. And again, if you see a question that talks about you or the other person, think of fundamental attribution. If it talks about me in the question, self-serving. If it talks about we, like I did with the test example, that's actor observer. All right. It's a fun little hack for that. All right. What do we know about weight set point theory? What do we know about weight set point theory? Nobody? Anything? Anybody want to at least
What
take a guess?
what's up first? Is this? I'm sorry.
What's that?
Oh, I was just wondering what's the topic on this one or what subject it is?
So the weight set point theory is bio and psychopharm.
Got it.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
So basically, the set point theory outlines a homeostatic feedback loop regulated by the ventral medial and lateral components of the hypothalamus. All right, so the body maintains a preferred biological weight baseline. So when drastic dietary restriction occurs, internal metabolic adjustments kick in to defend that baseline. So as a result, that reduces caloric expenditure and it triggers intense chemical hunger cues. So this explains the high statistical failure rates of long-term calorie deprivation diets. All right. So think of the set point as a thermostat. If you cut calories drastically, the body turns down its inner furnace, its BMR. All right. To stay at the exact same temperature, which is your weight. All right. What do we know about what's that?
Sorry, I had a question.
Sure,
Sorry.
sure. Yeah.
So, does this, and if it doesn't, totally skip me, does this relate to deficit when people are trying to do a calorie deficit? Or
It
that's
depend
more like a,
if it's more drastic. If it's drastic. So
got
so
it.
so Seco diet is, I mean, so the Seco diet is mathematically a good way to lose weight, you know what I mean? But at the same time, your body doesn't from this set point theory, your body doesn't read like drastic caloric changes. Like if you're under a certain amount of calories, and it adds up per week because 3,500 calories is a pound, and you do the math and you lose weight that way. But your body, if it's drastically not getting the calories that it needs, then it starts to get triggered.
Okay. Yeah, like people going on crash diets is what I think
Right.
about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's the reason why like crash diets like that doesn't have long-term and lasting effects. So, yep. All right. Real quick, let's do type 1 versus type 2. What do we know about that? Type 1 versus type 2 errors.
I know that my brain usually confuses the two, even now.
Yeah,
How
this one always
so?
trips me up. I always forget.
All right, what do we know? It's okay if we get it wrong on this side. I
I
always say
love
that.
that. I love that you put the pregnant lady because I always think of that
Yep, pregnancy.
example.
Yep.
So the first one is thinking that you're pregnant, but you're not. And the second one is thinking you're not, and you're actually are.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Pregnancy test is what keeps me memorizing the two all the time. All right, what do you know about the Flynn effect?
Every
Is it?
decade it
Oh,
goes up 3 points.
Okay.
And you.
All right. Yep.
but that also there hasn't been really proof to show that that has actually been the case, right? Like it's, um, because if not, we would be like geniuses at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to go up 3 points per decade approximately. Um, but the research that I did with this too, with Flynn effect, it's odd because there's like a downturn and it's cultural. So I mean, to your point, Leonora, it's not it's a bit sketchy when it comes to this. because so when it comes to the IQ, so like secular trim requires test developers to periodically renorm instruments to reset the population mean IQ back to 100. So family sizes, increased technological complexity, improved nutrition, expanded formal education, that affects it too. There's a lot of nuances to this. All right. So it's not just a flat rise. There's conditions of why it rises. So
I have a question. I don't know if you guys read that, but I saw something that said maybe it was the crystallized intelligence that was increasing or the fluid. I don't know if you guys read
hmm,
about that or if this is relevant, but
hmm, that's interesting. Well, fluid intelligence starts to decrease after the
mhm.
40s. So
Yes.
so yeah, crystallized intelligence stays intact till
Hmm.
80s. Yeah. So um so yeah, I imagine crystallized wouldn't have too much to do with it. More fluid when it comes to a decrease
Hmm.
in numbers, statistics. All right. All righty. Well, let's take the next so with those concepts in hand, let's get some practice questions ready to rock and roll. All right. So we'll do I usually have people read it and answer individually, but since we have about 10 minutes or so, and
How dare you, Chris? How dare you do that to people?
hmm,
I'm just busting on you.
how dare I?
Make them read and answer the question. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
that's the more you join these questions, Sony, the more um you'll see that I am a huge on confidence boosting because we're we're a lot of us are doctors, at least master's level, psychology experts. So we know our stuff. I mean, we went to school. We're not stupid. Like what I mean. So we know our stuff. So it's like it's a confidence thing with this darn test. It's not about. I mean, now granted, they throw in content just to lower your confidence, increase your anxiety. But at the same time, it's like you know your stuff, and that's the reason why I do a lot with content knowledge too, because everybody like many people knows like high yield stuff, right? But it's like the nuanced stuff that like when did we learn about this in what class and what what, I mean, throughout the entirety of our academia. So it's like you got to learn like the language of each of a P, and once you learn it, it's like you love to teach it to other people. You know what I mean? It's like 'cause they try to get you. So
I feel
uh,
it, Chris. I feel it. I
yeah,
appreciate you.
absolutely. All right, let's get into it here. So what we'll do is I'll just do an all play. I'll read it and so how I usually do is I have everybody read it a round or two, and then we do all play, but we'll just do all play now. So anybody, oh, thank you, Jen. Appreciate you joining. Um, but so what we'll do is we'll just have everybody say their answer. And you can group think it, and if you don't know it, kind of go in, or you can split the answers and say, you know what? I think everybody's saying C. I think I'm going to camp at D. So here we go. We had a similar situation there with Mario recently. That was like super intense game show, like
That's what I was just thinking
worthy.
about.
It was great. It was fantastic. She swayed everybody to the wrong answer, unfortunately. but she had the persuasive ability, so I gotta commend her for that.
I mean,
That
if
was
this doesn't
excellent.
work out, maybe I can go into law,
Yes,
you
indeed.
know?
Yes. All right. So, a clinical researcher is evaluating a client's cognitive distortions regarding gambling behavior. The client states, I have lost the last 9 rounds of roulette on black, so the 10th round is bound to hit red. This line of reasoning is best explained by a failure to understand which of the following: the law of large numbers, mutually exclusive probability metrics, the independence of random events, or base rate neglect. All right, what we got?
I feel like we can get rid of A. I mean, I'm thinking about the gambler fallacy with this, but I'm not. None of the answers are sticking out to me.
I
Yeah, I'm
mean,
also thinking of that, and I'm thinking of because they get reinforced. I can't remember if they're reinforced in an interval or ratio. There's the brain.
Intermittent reinforcement is the
it's
strongest, but that doesn't have, I mean,
It's not, yeah,
that's not
like
here.
how they're getting conditioned. Like that's the only thing that I remember from Gambler's House.
I'm thinking the same thing, Arca. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tony, and I'm leaning towards C because of that.
All right, here we go.
I don't know 100% because I'm forgetting what is D. Like, but I think it's C because of the gambler fallacy.
Base rate, that would, I mean, that's to do if we're talking about fallacies. That it occurs in the population more than it actually does, or the relationship. So I'm gonna go with C with you, Janice. But I could be
C
wrong.
is correct. Yeah.
All right, Janice, look at that.
So base rate neglect or base rate fallacy is like there's general prevalence rates when evaluating specific case data. So so basically it's like this is what the general public says, but this is like I'm going to ignore that. Like so when you go into like doctors' offices and things like that, it's a good way to think about when it comes to like base rate. Like this is generally with the public, but this is the specific case, for instance, in my mind. So I'm neglecting all the other cases basically.
Okay.
All right. Let's do this. It's the next one. School psychologist is designing a behavioral intervention for a 9-year-old child who repeatedly throws plastic books across the classroom during free play. The psychologist instructs the teacher to have the child not only to pick up the thrown blocks, but also neatly organize all the other toy bins in the room. This specific technique is known as positive practice overcorrection, restitution or overcorrection, response cost with negative punishment, or contingent operational restitution.
A. Well, no. B.
Yeah, I'm going B.
B.
I say B as well.
Me too.
Correct. Good job. All right. Let's get to some Fessinger. All right. The classic social psychology experiment modeled by Leon Fessinger's work. Group A is paid $1 to watch a notoriously boring film and write a glowing positive review about it. Group B is paid $100 to watch the exact same boring film and write an identical positive review. According to cognitive dissonance theory, which of the following outcomes is most likely? A, Group B will report significantly higher internal liking of the film than Group A. Group A will experience less internal tension because their compensation was lower. C, Group A will report significantly higher internal liking of the film than Group B. Or D, both groups will rate the film identically because of their behavior was identical.
So throw D out.
I think C.
C.
I'm going B.
All right, B, Erica.
I think B.
Lenora, B.
Well, I'm gonna go.
I think C.
Let's see, Sonny. Sony. All right. It is C.
Nice.
So Group A will definitely not experience less internal tension. They'll experience more internal tension. That's the reason why they're justifying it. All right. Let's do some ELM real quick. A public health agency is designing an anti-smoking campaign that create two advertisements, but I think it's funny when I hear people say advertisements. I always think that's hilarious. People say that. One details the long-term biological damage, statistical survival rates, and chemical breakdown of cigarettes. The other features a highly attractive, charismatic celebrity looking confident while refusing a cigarette. According to ALM, which statement is true? The celebrity ad utilizes the central route and leads to temporary attitude change. B, the statistical ad utilizes the central route and leads to durable attitude change. C, the celebrity ad utilizes the central route and leads to durable. Sorry. The celebrity ad utilizes the peripheral route and is most effective for highly motivated listeners. Or D, the statistical ad utilizes the peripheral route and is best suited for distracted audiences.
B.
I agree with you on B.
All right, B.
Ditto.
Nice. That is correct. Good job, y'all. All righty. Let's see.